Hello children, today I am going to explain you a lesson from your honeycomb book, lesson 6, Expert Detectives. This is a lesson written by Sharda Dwivedi. The main characters in this lesson are Maya, a 10 years old girl, a boy named Nishad, Maya's brother, also called 7 because of 7th note on the musical scale. Maya's mother, who is a doctor, Mr. Nath, who is Maya's mother's patient, and Mr. Ramesh, who is a waiter. Children, now here detective means investigator of a crime. Now in this lesson, Maya and Nishad, they both were very curious to know about Mr. Nath, and they both were acting as a detective. One day they decided to play marbles, and by playing marbles it suddenly got into Mr. Nath's room, and Nishad got a chance to see Mr. Nath. Scars on his face. After that, Maya and Nishad started discussing about Mr. Nath. That, is he a crook on the run? Why is his face so badly scared? Why has he no friends? Anyhow, Nishad's mother, being a doctor, knows Mr. Nath as a patient who is very polite. As they walked back towards the clinic, 7 and Maya, they started talking about Mr. Nath. Now 7 said that Mr. Nath doesn't look anything like a monster or a criminal or any suspicious person. And you see, he looks very lean and thin. So I think he cannot afford to eat. That's why he looks very poor and thin. Then Maya said, no, he can't be poor. But Maya said that if he is a crook means criminal who has run away from the police, he cannot be poor. I suppose he had stashed millions of rupees in his room. Stashed means hidden. So Maya was doubtful about Mr. Nath. But Nishad said, do you really think that he is a criminal? But I don't think that he is a criminal. I don't think he looks like a criminal. I doubt. But Maya said, yes, he is. And he is not starving. Most probably Mr. Mehta, who is the owner of his house, he has said that Ramesh brings meals for him from the restaurant downstairs. So he can't be a poor person or innocent. Maya, Mr. Mehta also said that he doesn't work anywhere. Then how could he have money to pay for food? So Maya said, exactly, that's what I am trying to tell you. That if he is not working anywhere, then surely he might have hidden the money somewhere. And most probably he has hidden the money in his room. And that trunk in his room might be full of all the treasures. So Nishad was totally disagreed with that, and he said, what rubbish. Then Maya told, I know I am right, stupid. See, you have seen the mark of scars on his face? So Nishad said, no, I couldn't. It was dark in the room. So I couldn't see that. But Maya said, yes, most probably he has got those scars during the shootout with the police. But Nishad was totally disagreed and he said, no, mummy said very clearly that those were burn scars. Then Maya said, yes, might be when police had to set his house on fire to force him come out of his house, and because of that, during that encounter he might have got those burn scars. And 7 looked. Following Monday was Nishad's mother's birthday, and Nishad went along with her to her clinic at Girgaon, and Maya was spending the evening with her school friend. When they returned, then Nishad told that he got a chance to see Mr. Nishad, and Maya felt annoyed and she didn't go. Now 7, he was upset about Mr. Nath's sickly appearance and he was sure that he was starving. He told that he has knocked at Mr. Nath's door that evening and he has opened the room. And he asked the same question, you lost another marble? Then Maya said, oh, that means he has recognized you. Then Nishad said no. And Nishad took the man's hand in his own hand and kept a bar of chocolate into it. Then Maya asked, then did you get a chance to peek into his trunk, Nishad? Then Nishad looked disappointed. He said, no, he didn't even ask me to come in. But then Nishad smiled and he said, but I have found out something, Maya. I went down the restaurant where Ramesh works and he had some conversation with him. Then Maya, she became happy and told, good for you, detective. And she patted him on his back. And she asked, oh, that means I hope you have questioned him properly. I looked pleased. Ramesh told me that he used to carry 2 meals for Mr. Nath every morning and evening and 2 cups of tea, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Ramesh also said that Mr. Nath is not very particular about what he eats. It's always the same food, 2 chapatis, some dal and a vegetable. Yes, one more thing. Ramesh also said that Mr. Nath pays cash and tips well. And one more thing, he said that one stranger used to visit Mr. Nath every Sunday, and the same visitor used to be with him every time. And he looks tall, fair, stout, and wears spectacles. And that Sunday visitor used to talk a lot, unlike Mr. Nath, who hardly speaks. Well done, Nishad, said Maya, and now we have made enough progress with our inquiries. Now we'll have to sort out all the facts like expert detective, and now we can trap the crew. How do you go on, Maya? Side 7. How can you even possibly imagine he's a crook? He looks so ordinary. Criminals look quite ordinary, smarty, said Maya. She said that did you see the picture of the Hyderabadi housebreaker in the papers yesterday? He also looked so ordinary on the street. Nishad looked doubtful. Yesterday, their school was about to open after the summer vacation, but due to downpour means heavy rainfall, the streets became flooded and the traffic couldn't move through the flooded roads. So it was declared an unexpected holiday. And Maya thought that she got a time and she could utilize it usefully. So she sat at her desk in her room with a sheet of paper and started writing all the points. Then started assembling all the facts in her notebook, and she asked Nishad whether he wanted to hear what she has written. And then he looked up questionably and she read all the facts one by one. First, she told that his name is Mr. Nath. We don't know his first name, and I don't think that it is his real name. Most criminals or crook they have alias, means alternate name. Then number second, the teenagers at Shankar's house says that he is mad, strange and unfriendly. Third, he doesn't talk to anyone and he is mannerless. Then Nishad interrupted immediately and said, but Mama told that he is very polite. Then Maya said that's only because he is Mama's patient and he needs to be polite. Number fourth, he doesn't receive any letters. Number fifth, he has been living in room number 10 at Sankar's house for more than a year. Number six, he doesn't work and he only sits in his room all day. Number seven, the kids in Shankar's house and even some of the grown-ups are scared of him. Number 8, he has no visitor except the Sunday visitor who is fair fat and comes for lunch. Number 9, the food tea taken to his room by Ramesh from the restaurant downstairs, and he pays immediately and also tips well. That's all. Maya said, have I forgot anything in my list, Nishad? And Nishad was not paying much attention to what she was telling about her list. And instead, Nishad was saying, poor man must be so lonely. He doesn't have any friends. Then Maya said, how can a crook have friends, idiot? She shouted. Then Nishad said, at least he has one friend who comes and meets him on Sunday. Then suddenly a brilliant thought came to Maya's mind. She said that Sunday visitor might be his accomplice in crime who comes every now and then to give part of his loot to Mr. Nath for his expenses. Then she said, yeah, I am right. I am going in the right direction. Then Nishad got angry. He said, if you insist calling him criminal, I don't think I am going to discuss with you anything regarding Mr. Nath. Then he said that he cannot be such a bad man if he gives Ramesh such generous tips. Then Maya said, maybe Ramesh knows about his past and Mr. Nath is bribing him to be quiet. Then Nishad glared at Maya with his arms tightly crossed across his chest, and she was beginning to get fed up with him. Then Maya said, how can we make any progress with our investigations if you take that attitude, Seven? Then Nisha said, I'll cooperate only if you give up the idea of Mr. Nath being a crook. That really make me angry. Please try to understand, Nishad. I have already told you that he lived in Shankar's house for more than a year and hasn't made a single friend. That means there is something wrong. It is very clear that he is scared that someone will recognize him and give him up to the cops. Maybe nobody has ever tried to make friends with him, said Nishad. Why should anybody bother? Said Maya. You have seen how nasty bear he is. I don't care, said Nishad. I like him and I am going to try and be his friend, said Nishad. Friends with a crook? You are crazy, said Maya. The cops will take you to jail along with him. Do you want that to happen, you idiot? Nisha just glared or looked at Maya and quietly walked out of the room. It seems that whatever theories or whatever facts she has told about Mr. Nath had made no impression on Nishad. So, children, we have come to the end of this lesson. I hope you liked my explanation, and if you liked, then please subscribe my channel.